Hello everyone. Sorry for the late video. The Severs was down in 7 days to die. So we filmed this. We're gonna do something a little different today. A few stories for y'all about the paranormal. These are my own personal experience. But anyways, let's begin. So I go ghost hunting a lot. It was me and 8 other friends. We had this place we go a lot, deep in the woods. We would always go at night. But oddly enough, the entire 3 years I've been there, I never saw a single animal day or night. Not a lot has happened this night. We got a few spots that we go to turn our lamps off and listen. Before I can tell you this story, I must tell you where we was. We drove up this road to our friend's house, but eventually the road turns into dirt and you enter the woods. In the woods you pass 2 gates. The first gate is where there are no more animals. The second gate is where the paranormal is. But back to the story. It was a pretty quiet night. We passed the first gate, and it's quiet, not a nose round, no animals. We was used to this by now, so we kept walking. We reached the second gate and we decide to turn off our lamps. We wait for a couple minutes and nothing happened. We were about to start talking until it sounded like a gunshot going off right in front of us. We obviously all got startled by it. One of our friends who lived there said it sounded like when they used to throw rocks on top of a tin roof down there. So we all threw rocks down there, but it was silence. As we began walking away, all the rocks came back up into the hill. We decide it's time to head back home. As we are walking back, we make it halfway back to the first gate. Until we thought we heard something. We stopped and listened. We heard a really loud, high-pitched scream. We all started running. But the screams were following us, like we was being chased. We kept running until we made it to the first gate. As soon as we passed the first gate, was complete silence. No screams, no nothing. We all went home panicked that night. Well, that's it for the first story. This second story happened at an abandoned house. It was near the same place. Only 3 of us went to this. I brought a EMF with me. It was dark, and this house has been abandoned for 30 years, so when we got there we went inside. It was dark and old. I turned my EMF on. It was reading normal, resting at 30. We walked around and talked for a bit. Nothing happened in the living room. As soon as I walked into the kitchen, the EMF started going to 400. It shook so bad that it broke the electronics on the inside of the EMF. We went to leave and saw a boy. He was crouched in front of the door looking at us. We all saw him. He ran into the room next to him. We went to look for him, but he was gone. My friend was recording audio the whole time. We left and went home to check it. While we was at the house, sitting around the table listening to the audio, we all heard something that freaked us out. In the audio, as soon as we mentioned seeing the boar, we heard a dog bark right next to us. But there was no dog there. That freaked us out. After that, we haven't been back to that house. But now that my stories are over, I'll tell you stories that I was told. It was a while back ago. They lived in an older house at the time. It was about 3 nights. They usually stay up real late. His mom was reading him a Bible. He was real young at the time. At this point, they knew their house was haunted. They was used to it. While reading the Bible, they heard what sounded like somebody messing with the lock on the front door. They looked over to see the lock moving back and forth. They tried their best to ignore it. Suddenly the door opens and slams shut. That spooked them, but they kept calm. He was sitting on his mom's lap, and she continued reading the Bible. It was all quiet for a bit, until the chair they were sitting on slid across the room. They jumped up and ran outside. They stayed at a hotel for the night. This next story happened a few years back. My friend's family liked to scare each other. One night turned into the last night that they would ever scare each other. It was at night about 11. His mom saw her daughter run into his room to hide. She assumed she was trying to scare him. So she hid outside his room and waited. 5 minutes went by. Then 15. And then 30. She walked into his room to see where she was. She was nowhere to be found. She looked everywhere for her, but she found her in the one spot she never expected. She was laying in her bed in her room. She told her mom that she never left her room. This will be the last story. Sorry for the short video. My friend's mom had a friend whose birthday was on Halloween. So they thought what better than to celebrate it in a haunted house. Well, at the party she was drinking a pop. She put her pop on the counter. As soon as it left her hand, it flew across the room and hit the wall. She was a bit spooked, so she went to the kitchen and looked out the window. She saw the shadow of 3 people hanging by a tree. This freaked her out, so they decided to end it early. As they were cleaning up, it was just her and her friend. They turned around at the same tomato to see something terrifying. A little boy peeking his head around the corner. He had no facial features. He was staring right at them. The boy fell to the floor and was dragged off by some unseeable force. Her friend fainted and she dragged her out of the house. That was the last time she went to that house. That's all, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry for the late video. Hopefully next week we will be able to post 7 Days to Die. I hope you all have a perfect day. And remember, stay epic.